So today we are going to discuss basically what your GATE examination is, what are the important dates, which is the organizing institute. We are going to look at that and primarily discuss 5 main obstacles that all GATE aspirants face. And how do you tackle these problems, in which we will be understanding कि क्या strategy होनी चाहिए, because if you see today is 19th of October, we have hardly 3 months left. Your examination will be in February. So how do you utilize these 3 months to crack your GATE examination? Now, even if you look at these 5 big obstacles, right? So these are again something that we have analyzed through the years, through our previous year students who had also faced these issues, but have come out with flying results. Okay. So let us look at these 5 big obstacles. Now, before we look at that, I would like to know कि what is going on in your head with respect to the examination. आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है? Like, are you scared? Are you worried? Yes, quickly let me know. Whatever, or maybe you can be fully prepared also. Either or. Yes, पता नहीं कहाँ से शुरू करूँ, क्या पढूं? Are you all facing issues like these? Yes, anybody? Where to start? Okay. Time management. Syllabus is a bit vast. Don't know where to start. Okay. What else? It could be anything. You could not necessary it has to be a problem. You might also be feeling, wow, I'm done with everything and now I'm just ready to give the paper. Whatever it may be, just share your thoughts. So we are going to discuss all of that today. Quickly let me know in the chat box so you all can unmute and answer as well. Yes, Nandini, Sharayu, Shriya, Anjali. Okay. So let us now start looking at these obstacles first and then understand how do you handle them. First and foremost, a lot of students that we see don't have a structured plan. Even when I was a student, even I have gone through the same thing. Okay. However, you come up with a solution and we are going to discuss that later on. So one of the most important problems, no structured plan. Even if you might have a structured plan or a strategy, you might feel that the syllabus is so vast, I don't know where to start or how do I study. Yes, there is a lot of confusion about the study. Even if you might start studying, one major mistake that many candidates do is keep on studying, 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 but do not practice enough paper solving. Okay, so like sometimes what we do as students is we keep on reading for maybe one topic, we will read 10 different books, okay, and try and acquire as much as knowledge. However, you have to realize that these 10 different books are not needed. One book is also enough, and multiple revisions are more important of that book. Along with that, what is important is practicing the questions, practice questions, mock tests. Lack of time management. Time management in the exam time management in the overall preparation, right? Because we feel, oh, this subject is so vast, what do I do? Sometimes we also, okay, what students do is sometimes we plan, okay, for I will do this subject 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I will do parallelly. So every day I will give 2 hours. So I will finish a lot. That doesn't work. Why I will tell you. See, if you feel that, okay, if I start 5 subjects parallelly, okay, in one day I'm giving 2 hours to each subject, let's for example. You confusing yourself more. Plus, it is not that you're going to finish a lot of it. Rather, if you give 1 to 2 days per subject, that way you will be able to finish off much faster. That as well. And even after, let's say, we start preparing everything we do, सब पढ़ के हो गया, सब हो गया. End minute, we are still confused. What to revise, how to revise, revise the whole thing again, right from the start till the end, what I've studied in these last few months. Now, how do I revise the whole thing again? Yes, how many of you face all of these issues or have these questions in your mind? Quickly let me know in the chat box. Yes, आप में से कितने लोगों को ये सारे सवाल आते हैं दिमाग में कभी ना कभी? Okay, no structured plan, confused about what to study. Okay. Yes, only Atul, nobody else. ऐसा कैसे? 6 hours daily, but not able to do that consistently. Okay, Asif. What about others? Just let me know yes or no also. कि at some point in your preparation, कहीं ना कहीं ये सवाल आए हैं दिमाग में. At some point or the other. Either it could be one obstacle out of 5, or all 5, or 2 out of 5, whatever. Lack of time management, difficult to manage with job. Okay. What and how to study. Yes. And see, I mean, it is because you are having these obstacles doesn't mean that it is difficult. Not at all. Okay. Sabko aate hai. When I was giving gate, even I had these doubts. Okay. There is sometimes there is self doubt also. यार हो पाएगा या नहीं मेरे से. Right? So don't worry. We are going to get through this and manage this. Yes, what to study also we are going to look at it. Okay. And to solve all this, Exam Assure is launching the last batch for 2026. That is the EKLAVYA batch, which we are starting from 21st of November. Okay, you will be having live classes 5 days a week. It will go on till 10th January. We will also be including aptitude, and all these classes will be conducted by GATE top rankers. Along with that, the faculty will also be discussing how do you solve questions in the examination. We will also be practicing certain questions, and these also include your mock tests, full length as well as subject wise. So we start from 21st of October, that is the Tuesday, day after tomorrow. Now, how do we overcome these obstacles? First, let us understand who is our enemy or who do we have to tackle. Okay. Overall, when you have a problem, first you should always understand the problem. So here, let us first understand this exam. How many of you have gone through the syllabus, are aware about the exam pattern? Yes. आप में से कितने लोगों ने एक बार एग्जाम सिलेबस देखा है, पैटर्न देखा है? Nobody? Quickly, let me know in the chat box. Gone through it? If no, not an issue. We will go through it now also. But just give me how many of you have gone through the brochure or the syllabus for gate architecture? If you've gone through it, type a yes. If you've not gone through it, type a no. And there's no need to be ashamed even if you've not gone through it. It's okay. We will go through it now. Okay? Okay. Most of you have gone through it. Fine. Still, we will go through it one more time and just understand how do we have to approach it. So, most important part in this obstacle is to understand your problem, which is the examination here. Okay, we are going to solve a problem, which is the examination. So let's understand that problem. That is the exam, understand its exam pattern, syllabus. Then move on to the previous year trends. Previous year हुआ क्या है? Look at the history. How or what range of score is required to get into IITs? Understand that as well. And then we will come to our strategy. A macro and a micro strategy we will be looking at. Okay. A master plan and a detailed plan, sort of a thing. And then last is your revision. Okay. So the most important thing firstly is who is organized. So it is IIT Guwahati. Now if you go back and understand previous year papers, IIT Guwahati has a relatively moderate to easy level of difficulty in setting the paper. And when is your examination going to be? The forms dates have already passed. Your exam would be either in the first weekend or the second, that is 7th, 8th February or 14th, 15th February. The lecture paper is not yet announced. Okay. So from today till Feb, we roughly have around 3 months and a few additional days in hand. Now coming to the exam pattern and details. If you see, it's a total examination of 100 marks where you have 15 marks for general aptitude and remaining 85 marks for your subject. So that is your architecture and planning. Now this exam is of 100 marks will be for a total of 3 hours or 180 minutes. Okay. Now we've seen the pattern. What kind of questions are asked? So there are 4 major categories of questions that are going to be asked or type of questions. One is memory-based recall, where basically you are expected to remember certain facts, formulas, principles, whatever. But it is more of a memory-based question. So if you look at this question, for example, who is known as Gandhi of architecture? So this is a very factual question, fact-based question. Okay. Here either you answer or don't at all. There is content that you can apply here. It's a create a way. Then you have comprehension type questions. So these questions understand you with your basic understanding rather than conceptual clarity. How or are your concepts? Basic understanding. Now, if you look at 101 suspect, okay, sorry for the con connection issue. Uh, did you all hear about the comprehension question? Yes? No, okay. Was I clear with the recall question? Wh- Yes? Okay. Is everybody clear with the recall section? Right, okay. Moving on to the comprehension question. Here, basically, you are tested on your basic understanding and conceptual clarity. Okay. Now, if you look at this question, in the Type A 101 building, steel pier as TMD is suspended to reduce horizontal sway due to. Now, we know this is a high-rise structure, Type A 101. So, what kind of load is it going to have? Now, this is something that requires your conceptual clarity. Okay, understanding the basic concept. High rise building, of course, there will be wind load also. Right, that is one conceptual clarity that is expected. So again, you will have certain questions of comprehension type, some questions based on your memory. Next typology is application kind of questions. In this, you are expected to apply whatever knowledge, right? That you have, whatever you're practicing or the practical knowledge that you are expected to apply that here. Now, if you look at this question, in AutoCAD, maximum number of OSNAP points in a circle are how many? Now, tell me, I'm sure all of you have used AutoCAD, are using AutoCAD. Have you all ever read this question in a textbook? ऐसे कोई textbook है या कोई book है क्या जहाँ पे ये लिखा है? AutoCAD, in AutoCAD, a circle has so many OSNAP points. A square has so many OSNAP points. No, right? All of us know this because we are using it hands-on, right? So again, here your application or your practice is something that is tested. Practical knowledge is what is tested. Analysis and synthesis types of questions or typology. So here basically you will be given with some data. You might be given some diagrams, and you are required to analyze that and come to some conclusion. So now, if you look at this question, maximum bending moment in a simply supported beam. of 8-meter span subjected to a UDL of 20 kilonewton per meter is how much? So what is the maximum bending moment? I have to analyze this question, apply some logic. Okay, this XYZ formula will be applicable, and then derive from this given data. I will have to derive certain answer. So you are going to have these 4 typologies of questions, that is recall, comprehension, application, and analysis and synthesis. Now these typology will be asked in what format? So the pattern of questions or the format of questions, if you see, is going to be of 3 types. One is either MCQ type question, where there will be only one single correct answer. Okay, now if you look at this, which institute is organizing GATE 2026 exam? There is only clear cut one answer. Now for these MCQ type questions, now these could be either of 1 mark or 2 mark questions. Now for these, if there is negative marking, so for a 1 mark MCQ question, if you give a wrong answer, there will be 1/3 negative marking for a wrong answer. And for a 2 marker MCQ question, there will be 2/3 negative marking. So here 0.33 will get deducted, and here 0.66 approximately would be deducted from your total score if you are giving any wrong answer for MCQ. Next format of questions is your MSQ, multiple select question. So here more than one correct answer. It could be either 2 or 3, but not all 4. Now, if you look at this question, which of the following is or are states in India? Maharashtra is a state, Gujarat is a state, Goa is a state. So here you have 3 correct answers. Now suppose, now again, for this there is no negative marking. And over here, let's say, for example, if you mark partial correct answer. So let's say, for example, if I had only marked Maharashtra and Gujarat and not Goa. So here I have 2 correct answers, yes. But what is expected is 3 should be correct. All 3 should be answered. Now in this case, what happens? I will get 0 marks if I answer only Maharashtra and Gujarat. Okay. I will not get any partial marking that, okay, I was expected to give 3 correct answers, but I've given 2, so I will get some partial marking. No, I will be given 0 marks because I've not given the complete answer. And suppose if I give a wrong answer, suppose if I would have ticked Mumbai also, still I will get 0 marks because there is no negative marking. Is this clear for everybody? Then we have the NAT type of questions. Okay, that is the numerical answer type. Now again, here you will be given some question, some data, and you will be expected to solve it and write down the answer here. There are no options given. You will not be given any options for a NAT. Plus, here this also has no negative marking. So again, right from here, we come up with our very first strategy. That is what? Be careful with your MCQs. Take full risk at MSQ and NAT. Attempt all MSQs and all numericals because there is No negative marking. You have nothing to lose over here. Is that clear? But for a MCQ question, you have to be little mindful. Okay. Now coming to our marking scheme. Now, if you look at it, your aptitude, you are going to have 10 questions carrying a weightage of 15 marks. So 5 1-marker questions and 5 2-marker questions makes it 5 plus 10, 15. Again, very boring. A lot of times students tend to ignore aptitude, but trust me, these 5 marks or 10 marks or 15 marks here can give you a big leap. We will discuss how as well. Coming to our architecture planning part. Now this a few years ago was divided into section A and B. So section A is your common part of the syllabus. It is a compulsory section. From this, you have 39 questions carrying 60 marks weightage. So you have 18 questions of 1 mark each and 21 questions of 2 marks each. So 18 plus 42 makes it 60. And then you have section B, where you have option 1 as B1 architecture or B2 as planning. Now, from amongst these, you have to choose one, either architecture or planning. Now, another important thing is you get to see questions of both and then decide what you want to attempt. Okay, so this section consists of 25 marks, where you have 7 questions of 1 mark and 9 questions of 2 marks. So 7 plus 18, that is 25 marks. Another important thing that I would also like to share. Now, some of you, okay, quickly let me know in the chat box, do you have certain plan that, okay, I want to pursue my master's in architecture or in planning? Anything you have in mind of that sort? Yes? No? Okay. Whoever has that in mind may please let me know that, okay, you plan to pursue your master's in planning or architecture, whatever it may be. Yes, Nandini, Sharayu, Shiksha, Shriya, Tanzil. Yes, please mention also what stream, like architecture, MArch or MPlan. Yes. Are you planning to pursue masters in architecture or planning? Please let me know in the chat box. Which of it is it? Okay. So by the time you type, I will just explain masters in urban planning. Okay. So Nidhi says she wants to pursue masters in planning. Now here, Sunidhi, if you see, okay, among section B1 and B2, it now because you plan to do masters in planning, okay, you can still attempt section B1 of architecture and go ahead and take admission for masters in planning. So it is not compulsory that you have to give planning. Now, a lot of students get confused that, okay, I want to pursue masters in planning. So am I supposed to choose section B2? Nothing of that sort. You can choose section B1 of architecture and still go ahead, qualify gate and take admission for masters in planning, or vice versa. You can attempt section B2 of planning and go ahead and take admission for masters in architecture. I hope this is clear for everybody. Yes. Tanzil, I was saying that if you want to pursue masters in planning, you can still go ahead and attempt section B1 of architecture and pursue your masters in planning, or vice versa. You can still attempt section B2 of planning and go ahead and take admission for masters in architecture. So there is no compulsion that because you want to take do masters in architecture, you have to give section B1. There is no compulsion of that sort. Is it clear, Tanzil? Okay, fine. Now let us look at the syllabus. Okay. So if you look at the aptitude syllabus, you are expected to know about verbal aptitude, basic English related questions. Okay, some fill in the blanks, some grammar, etc. Quantitative aptitude, basically like your speed, distance, time questions, what we had in school. Speed, distance, time is just an example. Okay, plus other numerical types of questions. Analytical aptitude, again, so let's say your directions that are there, or maybe some diagrams that are given, which of the following is odd man out kind of questions that are there. Spatial aptitude, your directions related questions, or somebody seated next to somebody, then who is sitting next to P, who is sitting next to Q, these kind of questions. So we'll be looking at them more in detail in the classes. Then coming to your common part A of 60 marks. If you see, this has 7 sections. Now these comprise of subjects from both architecture plus planning. So you have architectural planning and design, construction management, environmental planning plus design. So again, here you are expected to know all your EIA norms, environmental impact assessment related laws, plus basic concepts of environment, your biosphere, or let's say what is a niche, what is an ecotone, basic concepts, the food pyramid, and things like that. Then urban design, landscape conservation, planning process. Again, more this has more of the history of planning, of urban planning, housing, services and infrastructure. So all your building services that's there, or let's say your city level infrastructure plus solid waste management. All of these things are included in this. Coming to part B1 of architecture, you have your history of architecture, building construction, and structural systems or building structures, theory of structures. And then building services and sustainability. So this sustainability is basically your climatology that we study in college. Services, your basic water supply, drainage, sewerage, all of that. Coming to B2, planning, regional and settlement planning, hierarchy of plans, what are various types of plans, etc. Planning techniques and management. So here again, questions related to your GIS, remote sensing, that can be expected. And then you have infrastructure planning, basically all your transportation planning. Okay. So this is what your section B1 and B2 consist of. Now, however, if you look at the previous year trends, you will find questions from transportation, regional planning, or planning techniques even asked in common part A. You will also find questions from history, building construction asked in common part A. So it is important to note that at this moment, don't decide or pre-decide that I'm only going to give architecture part B1, so I will not look at the planning part. Don't do that mistake. You will end up losing few marks because questions from your options, that is part B1 or B2, are also asked in this compulsory section of part A. Okay. Now let us look at the previous year trend. So if you see previous year cutoffs, right, you will see a range between 33 to 45. Vast range has been the cutoff to qualify for it. Okay, so last year the cutoff was 40. Highest marks in architecture were 83 out of 100. Again, however, it is also important to note that if you want to get admission into a good college like IIT, getting only 40 or above, just above 40 is not enough. We need to get a good score, and for that is why we are here today, to try and understand how do we improve our performance and how do we get that good score which will help us get into an IIT. Let's look at a few detailed analysis of subjects. Okay. What is asked right from 2007 till last year 2025? Number of questions, how many times they did. So if you see for architectural design, okay, you have questions right from architects and their works to architectural graphics, basic computer applications, universal design, NBC standards. But the majority of the questions have been asked architects and their works. In the past few years, if you see, roughly 62 questions have been asked only on architects and their works. In the past 18 years. Then you have questions related to AutoCAD, Photoshop, SketchUp, your softwares, basic design, graphics, and then standard the rest of it. So again, while preparing now, considering the time in hand, primary focus should be these first to complete and then move on to these parts while studying architectural design. History, if you see, a lot of focus has been given on Western architecture and then the Indian architecture. Both are, of course, very, very important. So again, in Western, what do you have? You have your Greek, Roman, right, Renaissance, etc. All of that. So again, while studying history, first focus should be to finish off these parts in the syllabus. Western architecture, Indian architecture. Then if you get time, move on to these. But first priority should be these two. Coming to building structures now. Again, focus more on shear for ending mode than the rest of the topics. So again, here you will be having some the theoretical questions also, plus numerical questions also, numericals based upon this shear force bending moment. Then followed by your trusses, your slenderness ratio or Indian standards. Okay. So first, while studying structures, this should be your first focus or priority. First, finish off that, which has been asked more and more repeatedly, the topics. Coming to building construction, project management, estimation, valuation. Now, within building construction, if you see, majority of the focus has been on building materials, and much later are building components. So again, building materials primarily like your bricks, timber, stone, etc. What are its properties? What is it? What are the defects of timber, for example, right? Again, what are certain types of joints? What is toothing, work? Again, these kind of details are important. Environmental sustainability. Again, climatology, the basics of climatology, your azimuth angle, right? That is important to know. Then environment and ecology. So your basic concepts of environment, basic terminologies. These are important. Then followed by your lighting or building rating. So your IGBC rating or LEED rating, that is there. To your planning part, again, history, planning history, very, very important. Followed by basic concepts, planning models, what is your board, what is boot, in terms of planning models, then followed by planning policies. So again, while studying planning, first finish off the planning history part and the basic theories and concepts. Who's given which theory? Then if you see, major focus is on various government policies and acts, followed by types of service, and then GIS and remote sensing. So when you're again preparing, these three should be your primary focus. Okay, URDPFI, last 2-3 years, every year there has been one question on the URDPFI guideline. Coming to services, infrastructure, transportation, again, in transportation, yes, itself is important, but if you look at services, majority of the questions on water supply and sanitation, followed by acoustics. So in acoustics, again, you have your theory plus numericals that are asked. So when you're studying services, when you start with it, first finish of water supply, sanitation, and acoustics, and then move on to the rest of these. Coming to housing, majority of the questions are your numericals. Every year there is 1 to 2 numericals on housing, and it's very easy and very scoring. Since the last 2, 3 years now, they are asking about certain government schemes, policies, what is, let's say, PMAY, some components of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Questions on these have started coming since the last 2, 3 years. So if I just put everything together, if you see, the paper is always balanced. Okay. Now, if I divide the paper into the sections also, if you see, you will find a certain balance between it in terms of the questions that are asked. However, if you go into the detail of each subject, get a much more clearer idea what you need to focus upon. I hope everybody is clear, have some more clarity now in terms of where do we stop or what do we focus upon. Yes, yes, do we all have a little more clarity now? Where do we start from? What do we focus upon? What topics? Okay. Yes, sorry for that. Till where were you all able to hear me? Yes. Yes, I hope everybody has some more clarity now. Yes, do all of us have more clarity now with respect to where do we start from or what do we focus upon in terms of the subject, let's say, for each subject, or let's say the overall part? Yes, were you all able to hear me for this slide? Okay. No, Neil. Was I audible for this slide or I was disconnected at this slide? Can somebody help me out here quickly? Okay, had you all heard about housing? Okay, fine. Had you all heard about this slide where what I had said, I'll just repeat quickly, is basically in this case, if you look at the overall scenario, questions from all subjects, there has been more or less of a balance in the gate examination. So usually like our college examinations, the focus is more on one topic, let's say. Nothing of that sort is seen over here. The questions are well distributed throughout all the subjects. Okay. Yes, Atul, I will answer your question towards the end. Anjali, I will also answer your question towards the end. Okay. Coming to the range of score that is required to get into your IITs. Now, as per the 2024 GATE examination, okay, the 25 data was not yet released, but if you see, roughly out of 11,000 people who had filled the form, 9,000 had appeared for the examination. And the cutoff in 24 was 41.5. Now, here they have also given a range of starting and ending ranks in the examination. Now, please mind it, your rank, your score, and marks are three different things. Okay. So now if you look at the ranks or the scores rather, so somebody who has scored between 900 to 1000 will get a rank of between 1 to 5. Somebody with a score of between 800 to 900 has a rank between 6 to 25. Between 700 to 800, 26 to 91 rank in gate architecture. 600 to 700 score would get you a rank of about 94 to 252. Now, if you look at what IITs require is something of a rank between 1 to 100 max or max to max 125 rank. Okay. So a score of much more or a lower rank. Lower means what? Rank 1, rank 2. Now, rank 1 is a lower rank than rank 2. Okay. But higher score. Now, in this case, if you see, okay, so in 2024, I had an All India rank of 44. If you look at the marks, 64.67 marks out of 100, or let's say a score of 762. So, somewhere in this range. So, A score, again, this score of 762 is coming from marks of 64. Now, if you see in 2024, the highest marks were 77 out of 100. Here, if you look at it, highest marks were 77 in 2024. So, somebody with a marks of 77 has got AIR 1. Now, just see the difference. Okay, I had marks of 64. The topper had 77 marks. So can you all tell me quickly how much is the difference of how many marks? 10 marks roughly, 10 to 12 marks, let's say. Yes? You all do the maths, 10 to 12 marks, I guess. 12 or 13 max. So just see, with a difference of 10 to 12 marks, the score has gone where? The rank has gone to 44. Right? So here, what I'm trying to say basically is one single mark, point, or even marks of points, point 30, point 40, whatever, is going to change your graph from here to here. Okay, like I had said earlier, aptitude is very important. Sometimes we tend to ignore aptitude. Those 5 to 10 marks, imagine in aptitude, if you get over here, your rank is directly going to go from this range to this range. Is this clear for all? Okay, now coming to the most awaited thing, that is your strategy. How do we strategize? What do we look at? So there are again two fronts. One is the exam front, where you need to focus on previous year questions, focus on making your own notes, focus on conceptual clarity, practice of numericals, mock tests, and most important is your revision. And on a personal front, be consistent, be more self-disciplined. I know sometimes we might get bored. Okay, consistency, yes, is sometimes an issue. We are all humans, no problem. But again, it is self-discipline that will help us. Most importantly, please don't be bothered about what your friend has finished or how much that friend has finished. Okay? And then coming to our macro and micro strategy. Now, in terms of, let's say we are in the second last week of October, or let's say last week of October, second last 2 weeks of October, till mid-January, you need to finish, you can finish your whole syllabus along with subject-wise mock tests and subject-wise previous year question solving. And from then onwards, till your examination, only focus should be on revision and full length mock tests. Now, how do we do this? Now, if you look at all these sections, okay, these are not new to us. Yes, we've seen these all in architecture, we've gone through some of them. If I break them into subjects, we roughly get about these 18, 19 subjects that we've studied. Okay. Let's break them into smaller bits. And now let's prioritize these subjects. Most important, history. Why history first? Because it is vast, followed by your architectural design, then environment. Okay, now this is based upon the vastness and its importance in the examination. So you prioritize these subjects because yes, history is vast, it takes time. Let's say you start preparing from tomorrow. Okay, take 2 weeks for history. So that is from 20th October till 31st October. You focus only on history. Finish off your your Western and Indian architecture. Now, again, it will not take long, trust me, because you've studied these earlier. Okay. Use your weekend, Saturday, Sundays for your subject-wise mock tests and revision. So again, let's say I've studied Western architecture here in this week from 20th to 24th. 25th, I solve all history related mock tests that are available, and I solve all Western architecture related previous year questions that have come, at least in the past 10 years, minimum. Now, here, let's say you are not able to solve certain questions, which is okay. Utilize that Sunday to brush up your drawbacks. Okay, here you study, here you test yourself, and here you fill up the drawbacks. So let's say in October we finish history. Coming to November, you focus on your architectural design. Next week, environmental planning and design. 1 week is more than enough. Building construction, landscape conservation. Again, landscape conservation 1 day, landscape 2 days. Climatology. And same thing. Each weekend, you study this for the entire week. Weekend, you test yourself. Sundays, Saturdays, you test yourself. Sundays, you are revising the entire thing. Okay, and what do I focus on? What do I start with for architecture design, or what do I start for history? We've already seen that in the subject-wise analysis. Okay, so by November, you are done with architectural design, environment, building construction, landscape, conservation, climatology. 7 subjects are done by November. Coming to December, you focus on your services, regional planning 1 week, planning techniques 3 days, estimation 2 days, structures 3 days, construction management 2 days, and transportation planning another 5 days. And same thing repeats, subject wise mock tests and previous year questions of that particular subject only on Saturday and revision on Sunday. So with that, you finish again these many subjects. So by the end of December, out of 18, you've already completed 14 subjects. By January, okay, you are left with lighter subjects now. All the heavier subjects, all vast subjects are already done by December. Okay. January planning process, housing 2 days. Again, most focus should be on numericals in housing and your acts and policies. 2 days urban design, your basic concepts, theories. 3 days aptitude. Or another thing you can do is also practice aptitude every day for half an hour. That is also okay, depending upon how good you are at aptitude. So by mid-January, second week of January, you are done with your entire syllabus. The next 2 weeks you use for revision of all that we have seen till now. Now, how do we even revise? Focus on what your weaknesses were. When you were giving these tests over here, right? You probably were not able to attempt some questions. Yes. Plus, in the full length mock tests, you will also realize you are not good at certain topics, which is okay. That is what you need to focus on in the revision part. And whatever extra days you get, that is just a bonus. Because your exam could be on any of these dates. We don't know yet. So whatever it is, you might get 1 week or 2 weeks bonus that is there. Okay. So yes, we will now take up questions. And before taking questions, I would just like to let you all know that the batch we are launching on 21st of October, okay, is not for 21,000. The price is 14,999 with books and 12,499 without books.